Well, the wait is finally over. The PlayStation Plus titles for the month of March have been revealed. Sony was revealing games for April before they were revealing the March lineup, but I would say that the wait was worth it because March may very well be the best PlayStation month lineup ever. I would say that these games are pretty solid to get. Now, the issue is the headliner in the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Absolutely ridiculous getting that for free, given that it's not even a year old at this point. I would imagine a lot of people already own that game. I mean, that was regarded as one of the best games of 2020, so I imagine a lot of people already have it. But if you're the kind of guy that you're not big on JRPGs, I mean, that is a pretty freaking great one to get and, use as a gateway into Japanese RPGs. But pretty ridiculous getting that, given that it still goes for a premier price point. There is a caveat with it, and I'll go over that. But outside of that, you get 3 other games. Yes, 4 games in total. One of them is a PlayStation 5 exclusive. One of them is a VR title. 2 PS4 titles. I would say overall a fantastic month. So let's start off with that headliner. That is the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I consider this to be among the top games of 2020 for me. It's really this, Ghost of Tsushima, maybe Doom Eternal is right there as well. But the FF7 Remake, I'm a shill for Final Fantasy VII. I absolutely love that game. I'm honestly just a shill for the majority of Final Fantasy in general, even like Final Fantasy 13, and people didn't like FF13 that much. I'm a shill for FF13 too, not the sequels, but FF13, yeah, I'm a shill for that. The Final Fantasy VII Remake I thought was tremendous. I thought, yes, it's only the early portion of Final Fantasy VII, but they flesh out the game so much that you feel a lot more attached to the characters, and they did a really good job developing the characters and things like that. It is going to take a little bit of a shift from the original FF7, but I'm all here for it. I've been touting it. Yes, it might be a train wreck. That is very well a possibility that this new story, given that what we've seen out of Square Enix with, some other games that we won't talk about, it could very well be a train wreck, but I'm here for that train wreck, or I'm here for them actually delivering a brand new FF7 story. Either way, I'm excited for the future, but FF7 Remake I thought was tremendous. Now, the caveat is, the PlayStation 5 version of FF7 was just revealed. There is a DLC coming, an expansion, including the FF7 optional character in Yuffie. That looks really good. You will not be able to upgrade this PlayStation Plus version of Final Fantasy VII Remake onto the PlayStation 5. That is not allowed. You will have to get the PlayStation 5 version standalone. And then you start realizing what Square Enix is doing. Square Enix is like, alright, we'll take some money from Sony to offer this as a Plus title, and then, we'll give this to people. People will probably really dig it, and then let's try to get them on the PlayStation 5 by that DLC. Pretty shrewd move by Square Enix. I have to give them some props. I like what you're doing here. I mean, at the end of the day, you still get FF7 Remake on the Plus lineup, and just not a lot of people have a PlayStation 5 anyway. I know that the ultimate goal for them is probably to sell the expansion on the PlayStation 5, and yes, the expansion is a PlayStation 5 exclusive, so figure that one out if you're on the PlayStation 4. Too bad for you, you gotta get a PS5. How are you gonna get a PS5? I have no idea how. So good luck on that one, but the game itself is really good. Again, I imagine some people will be disappointed because I feel like this is a game that everybody already copped, but hey, it is what it is. It still goes for like 40 bucks, so I think this is a pretty nice addition. Outside of that, Remnant from the Ashes. How about this? This is a great addition as well. Mainly because this has a very big focus on cooperative gameplay, so if you and your boys are all PS Plus subscribers, you all download Remnant from the Ashes, boy, you're good to go, and you can enjoy this game to the fullest. Remnant from the Ashes was one of the more underrated games of, I believe, 2019 was when it came out. Developers stayed pretty on tap with it as well, and they've been updating it, adding content, all that good stuff. They dropped some DLC as well. Again, one of the more underrated games, and it was done by Gunfire Games, a studio that, isn't really that well known at this point, but they're making some traction here, and they've done some pretty good stuff, so hopefully some of you guys check out Remnant from the Ashes, because I think you'll really enjoy it, and again, if you have a couple friends to play with, tell them to download it, and you can have a pretty good time with that. It is a little bit challenging at times, but quite replayable, and I do think you guys are going to dig that. So that on top of Final Fantasy VII Remake as the base PlayStation 4 titles, I think that's 2 of the best games that PlayStation 4 owners have gotten in quite a while. On top of that, if you have a VR headset, I mean, you can just add it to your library anyway, but Farpoint is a PlayStation VR title. This was one of the very, very early PSVR titles. I don't believe it was a launch game for VR. It was right after launch, if memory serves me correctly. Yeah, I think VR came out in the fall of 2016, and then Farpoint came out in the spring, and this was one of the games that, if you're an early VR adopter, you were looking forward to. you know, it's not a perfect first-person shooter, it's not a perfect shooter in general, but it was one of those early VR titles that showcased, you know, what a big-budget title could do in VR, but again, as an early title, it's still very, very rough around the edges, but it's still a game that I think you could have some fun with, again, as a PS Plus freebie, quote-unquote freebie. It's pretty good. I imagine if you have a VR headset at this stage of the game, you probably already own the game, but you should add it to your library because VR 2 is coming next year, and I imagine that that is going to be the time where a lot of people decide to jump into VR, especially with single-cord connection. Yes, it's not wireless, which is so unfortunate. Like, I just want to be done with VR wires because that is my issue with PlayStation VR. My VR headset has been collecting dust for quite a while, and it's just because the configuration of my room makes it so hard to set up, and I always read it on social media that everybody's like, yeah, we like VR, we think it has a lot of potential, but God, it's so hard to set up, and some people just don't have, you know, the space and the room configuration where it's really easy to set up VR, and that is a reality of the situation, but add it to your library, you'll have it forever, and you'll be good to go when you do get VR, or if you pick up VR 2 or anything like that. Lastly, the PlayStation 5 title is a brand new release, and that is the puzzle game in Maquette. This is a game that I talked about a little bit. It's a first-person, reclusive puzzle game that takes you into a world where every building, plant, and object are simultaneously tiny and staggeringly huge. It's like when you come outside and outside of the game's inner world, it gets like bigger and bigger. It's really hard to explain. The trailer kind of gives you an idea of what to expect. I like the visual look of the game. We'll see how it turns out. I'm not big into puzzle games, so personally speaking, this isn't completely up my alley, but given that it is a brand new release, I mean, I do have to give them credit on that end. If they offer a brand new release as a Plus title, I feel like that is relatively relevant, so we'll see how people receive that, but I think as a PlayStation 5 additional title, it's a pretty decent one given that it is a brand new release. So those are the PS Plus games. I think some people will see this as the best month ever. You know, there are some other months, like there was that one month where we got Bloodborne and Ratchet and Clank, and that month was insane, but FF7 Remake, Remnant from the Ashes, Farpoint, and Maquette, that's pretty darn good, all things considered. Yes, FF7 Remake has the drawback where you cannot ultimately upgrade the game into the PlayStation 5 version. Very obvious to see what Square Enix is doing here. It's not just a, oh, we're giving everybody FF7 Remake for free. No, they want you to get that PlayStation 5 version. They want you to drop $20 on that Yuffie DLC. And they want you to enjoy the game so much that you ultimately do buy the game again on the PS5. Makes sense, I understand it from a business, a logic standpoint, but yeah, a little bit unfortunate, but still a pretty great offering, all things considered. Farpoint, VR title, Remnant from the Ashes, I think is excellent. Get some friends on it as well, and you'll have a good time with that. And Maquette, as a brand new game, I think is pretty decent as well. That's going to wrap up this one. Let me know your thoughts on the Plus lineup. Maybe some of you guys aren't as enamored with it. I think it's pretty darn good, so sound off in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.